What's up peeps? So if you are new to CAD, which is computer aided design, then this video is for you. So I'm a big fan of the 20-hour learning method, which basically states that you can learn any skill with 20 hours of practice. And that has been very much true. I've done it with ukulele and I've done it with design drawing. So now I'm going to apply that method to Fusion 360, which is Autodesk's CAD software. So at the beginning of recording this video, I had never used Fusion 360 before in my life. So making a box like this was tricky. But at the end of the 20 hours, I ended up making this fancy car. So the next half of this video will be you watching me doing my 20 hours from going from this to this fancy car and all the pain and struggle in between. Then at the end of this video, I will teach you how to do your own 20 hours of Fusion 360. I'll also show you where to find all the tutorials and get the software for free. So without further ado, let's begin. I've decided to take the 20-hour learning method and get it all done in just 2 days. So that means 10 hours of learning each day. I don't know if this is possible, but meh. So, to be able to do this, I am locking myself in my room. I have all the essentials over there in the corner, mainly cups of tea, very important. And the idea is that I will eliminate all sorts of distractions so I can get all that work done in the least amount of time possible. Let the madness begin. So, just about 2 hours in, I've just completed my first lesson, which was design a lamp in an hour. It actually took me 2 hours because me so slow. Very good. So I just thought I should probably set some objectives of where I want to be by the end of the 20 hours. I'm not sure if this is way too ambitious, but it's what I'm going to aim towards and we'll see how we get. So, by the end of 20 hours, I want to be able to model a Jaguar Model E because I think it is the most beautiful car ever created. And if I can create that in Autodesk, I will be happy and that will prove my skills. Anyway, let's dive back in. Okay, so I am now at the 3-hour mark, and so far I have completed first 2 introductory courses, which have been really good, and this has given me a really good basic overview of all of the functionalities, which has been good. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do a few more courses about 3D modeling. Let's continue. So the course I'm doing now is Introduction to 3D Modeling. Looks good. So what we're going to learn now is the 4 different methods to 3D modeling, which are parametric modeling, freeform modeling, direct modeling, and assembly modeling. I have no idea what that means yet, but I'm going to find out. So for the next 7 hours, I did a few more tutorials and went in depth into each tool to find out exactly what it did. So making a very novice mistake and thinking that I knew everything, I decided to model a pocket knife without a tutorial. And it quickly came to my attention that I had no idea what I was doing, and the pocket knife render, while I did it, it was not nice. It was a very chunky pocket knife. Time is done. I'm not really happy with the knife at all, but my mind is going to custard. It's 12 o'clock at night. I'm tired. I am going to bed. Day 2, and I've now completed 10 hours. Yay! So, where I'm at. So at the beginning of the course, I said that I wanted to CAD out the Jaguar Model E. This car. Beautiful car. Now, I've kind of come to the realization that I've been in Fusion 360 for a bit, that if I was to CAD up the full thing properly, it would take a very long time. I think it would even take an experienced person a very long time, and since I've only been doing it for 10 hours, I'm not sure if I could do that. So what I've decided to do is what's called digital visualization, and it's a common practice that is actually used in the automotive industry all the time. So there is a course on Autodesk Design Academy called Design Visualization using Fusion 360 and Sketchbook, and especially using the 3D modeling and the drawing together to create nice visualization images. Okay, so I've got my tablet out, and what I've decided to do is I'm going to try to do a more modern version of the Jaguar Model E. It's a beautiful car, but I wanted to sort of get some of my own ideas in there, so I'm gonna do a side profile outline. I'm gonna base it on the Model E, but I'm gonna change it slightly and give it more of a modern twist. I have no idea how this is gonna go. Spending way too much time in Sketchbook drawing it all. I am now going to port those drawings and put them into Fusion 360 and start 3D modeling. Yay! So once you had your drawing in the software, the idea is that you wanted to model along the edges. Sort of give it the rough outline following the edge and then slowly curve it into the middle. So I have a problem. Now what's happened is there's a line that for some reason I think it's creased or something. In fact, I don't know what's wrong with it. I must have made a mistake early on in the modeling process and I can't figure out how to fix it, and this is the problem. So because I was making my own model and it turned out to be a whole lot trickier to make, I've actually been wasting my 20 hours trying to problem shoot these little problems that keep coming up. I think it's good to do it, but to get the most out of this 20 hours of learning, I think I need to simplify. And so if I'm going to simplify, what I should have done and what I'm going to do now is actually follow along with the lesson and use the, so in this lesson that I'm following, he supplied a whole lot of stencils of a car that he had designed. I think I'm going to go back, remodel it using those stencils, so do a new car, and that should be easier to follow along with. I mean, I don't know, I'm getting more comfortable with the T-spline tool, but it's still a mish. Okay, here we go. So after shelving my futuristic Model E, I decided to follow along closer to the tutorial so I could actually figure out how to master this tool. And this ended up being quite a good idea. I started moving a whole lot faster. Final steps. So I'm now setting some rendering, and then from this, it looks really nice, and then from this I'm going to touch it up in Sketchbook and it's done. So in Sketchbook I was able to give it the final details. I gave it some nice parting lines which really added to the overall look, and I even added a little Ferrari insignia at the front, just a little final touch. I am finally done, and I'm really happy with it. Considering all the mistakes that I went through, I'm actually really happy with the results. Check it out. So now that you've watched my pain, my struggle, my success of my 20 hours, you're inspired to do your own. There's the hope. So to begin, you're going to need the software. Go to the Autodesk Design Academy to download Fusion 360. I've included a link below which will take you to this page where you can get the software for up to 3 years if you are a student. Also at the Autodesk Design Academy there are tons of free tutorials that you can take. These are the tutorials that I took for my 20 hours. Decide on the end result. Have a goal for what you want to make at the end. For example, my goal was to make a car and I did it. It was really hard. I don't recommend doing a car as it is very tricky. But say for example you want to model a really nice pocket knife or something like that. Decide what you want to model and say this is what I want to be at the end of the 20 hours. Decide what period of time you want to do this over. Set a deadline. Now for me, I did it over a period of 3 days, which was very, very, very intense, and I do not recommend it at all. But for example, if you were to do this 20 hours over a period of a month, that is only an hour and a half each day, and that is 100% doable for anyone. Number 4, begin with the tutorials. Now when you first enter Fusion 360 and you've never seen anything before, it looks very daunting. There are a lot of buttons, there's a lot going on. Learn the workspace before you work in the workspace. I've put links to the tutorials that I personally use for my 20 hours, and they're great. You'll find those links in the description below. Number 5, start 3D modeling for 20 hours. By the end of the 20 hours, you will be astounded, absolutely astounded with what you've learned. I guarantee it. I know I am. I went from knowing nothing about the software to being relatively comfortable and being confident to be able to make 3D models. So there we have it. We are done. And yeah, I mean, considering when I came into this just a couple of days ago, where I had never used Fusion 360 before ever, to being able to create that, is pretty incredible. I am happy with the results. So I hope you liked this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, as that really helps. And I will see you in the next video. Adios, people.